Thank you. Drastic times require drastic measures.
Dreaming now.
Drastic times require what? Drastic measures, yes! Who said that? Thank you! Drastic times require drastic measures!
You know what? I'll be honest with you. You know I'm honest with you every day. I'm kind of in a bad mood today, okay? That's just my thing, right? But I tell you, that thing cheers me up every time, man. There is a bomb to cure the sin-sick soul, and it's Phil Davison. I must have watched that 5 times today. I mean, I can't get enough of this.
I am from the village of Minerva.
I am from the village of Minerva.
Who said that? Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell Randy Gonzalez, I'm coming.
Tell Randy Gonzalez I'm coming. That's definitely one of our taglines from now on. All right, well, so what's happening with Phil Davison? Well, we have updates for you. He's been making the tour. He has talked to Talking Points Memo, Politico, a local radio station here in L.A. We got some clips for you guys. Okay, now, unfortunately, he's not nearly as excited as he was the other day. Now, in fact, in the beginning, he sounded kind of rational, but then when you listen to what he's saying, oh, it doesn't sound so rational. Okay, but first, let's listen to him at talking to a local radio station. Clip number 5.
I have been a Republican in times good, and I have been a Republican in times bad.
It's like Howard Dean on steroids, almost.
Yes, it is a little Howard Dean. I went a little over the edge, and I apologize for what I did. I mean, if it offended anybody, I did the best I could, and I knew I was only going to get 5 minutes, and I wanted everyone there to know that I'm proud of what I do. I want to be a part of the decision-making process. I think we need to bring people to the table that have alternative viewpoints, and I guess if I'm labeled a radical Republican, that fits the bill. I think we need people that want to get emotional and care and want to get involved.
Well, look, first of all, I'm offended by the comparison to Howard Dean. Okay, but second of all, at least he admits he's a radical Republican. You got to give him that. Coming with his trademark honesty, and he's excited to be on a station in L.A. He's going to let us know about that. Let's go to the next clip.
Kevin, thank you very much. And, I love California. It's a great state. I watch TMZ all the time, and it's a lot of fun out there.
All right, man. Rock on. Thanks for the time.
Rock on. Thanks.
Later.
I love California. I watch TMZ all the time. I'm from the village of Minerva. Okay, so we're still having fun. Then he went on by the way, just one last thing on the Howard Dean. Look, Howard Dean said, we're going here, we're going there, and he said, yeah, as everybody knows, wah, Sikterland, right? He wasn't going on and on about maniacal things. Who said that? And upon watching it 18 different times, now my new favorite thing about the Phil Davison flip out is the look on his face. I mean, look, when you look at him as he goes around, he's like, look at him, look at him.
Thank you. Drastic times require drastic measures.
That look of like, and it is total speculation, and I don't even agree with the speculation. I don't know anything about it, right? But a lot of people who saw that clip on YouTube were like, cocaine, it's a powerful drug. I have no idea. The guy said he just grabbed a ham sandwich afterwards. He's cool, etc. But he is amped, right? And then everybody else said, is he auditioning for WWE? That was some serious Randy Macho Man Savage stuff. Let me tell you something, brother! I'm at the Stark County Treasurer! All right, now here's some new quotes from Phil Davison. Here he is talking to Talking Points Memo. I think it's time for we form a radical branch of the Republican Party. Well, Phil Davison would be a good candidate for that branch. He says, we need to embrace diversity and include people who are frustrated with government who truly want to make a change. Again, you got to give Davison credit. He's definitely in favor of change. I mean, I don't know what he's going to change it to, and then it's going to be a surprise for everybody, right? But I know one thing. Stark County Treasurer is a mess! Okay. Now, he goes on to say, it's shocking. I don't know what to say. I'm speechless about what he said. Could have used that speechlessness the other night. But anyway, he continues. He says, if I had to give it again, this is interesting, would he do it again? If I had to give it again, I would give it again. I didn't mean to offend anyone. That's the last thing I wanted to do. I wanted to be inclusive. But he says that feedback would have been nice. I really don't know how it was received. Well, Phil, it was received excellently. If anybody gives you any crap for it, you just ask them.
I am from the village of Minerva.
I mean,
Who said that?
who said that? Who said that? Okay. So now, the other funny thing about Phil, and by the way, he doesn't have to apologize for this. Everybody's enjoying this. And who's offended by it? JR, are you offended? I'm not offended. I mean, he's giving us hell, man. He's hitting the ground swinging, as he said. And he's looking forward to winning. Although, unfortunately, he didn't. He lost. Okay, but nonetheless, we're all having fun. I mean, he didn't say anything offensive. He just said that was stuff that was funny. So now he doesn't even realize this thing's going around, and he's getting all these calls, and he's like, well, what happened? How did everybody find out what's going on in Minerva or in Stark County, right? So here's his first quote to TPM. I went home and had a ham sandwich and went to bed and thought that was the end of it. A friend called and, well, I'm not very good with electronics. Is there a YouTube? It was on some kind of electronic server.
Who said that?
Is there a YouTube? This guy's more clueless than Ted Stevens, who thinks it's a serious. I'm not very good with electronics. I went to the local Radio Shack and I couldn't find this YouTube thing. So I don't know where this is going on, but I do know one thing.
Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell Randy Gonzalez.
There's a YouTube! Tell Randy Gonzalez it turns out there's, what do you call it? Some sort of electronic server. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. All right, so that's Phil Davison. That's the update for you. I don't know what he was on, but somebody's going to get some of that. Who doesn't want to hang out with Phil Davison? Look, he claims to be a radical Republican, and I'm sure he is. And I'm sure if we got into his ideas, and nobody's asked him, Anna's trying to get him on the show, because we want to ask him, hey, what are your radical ideas? Because that's going to be a world of fun. Okay, but until I find out those crazy things, I love the guy. I mean, that's America, man. You go out there. He says, look, I was doing like an old stump-style speech. He's like, before all this TV and radio and online and all that stuff, people would get out there and just scream and yell, and they try to get people riled up. Phil, you got us riled up, man. Nicely done. At least TYT loves you for it, until we find out what you stand for. Okay. So now, that's the fun, goofy stuff, Phil Davison stuff. All right, now let's get on to serious stuff. Let's go to Barack Obama, who does not give speeches like Phil Davison. Not in the least bit. Okay, he's the exact opposite. I was talking to a friend this morning about this. During the campaign, remember Obama used to give the greatest speeches, honestly, I think, since I've been alive. I mean, I don't blame people for having a tingle up their leg. Okay, I mean, the speeches in the campaign, the one on race, and then later, after he was elected, the Cairo speech was phenomenal, right? Since then, we've not been as inspired, let's put it that way. But today, as we've been chronicling over the last couple of days, Obama again goes on the warpath a little bit, and he's going to take the fight to the Republicans. But of course, as always with Obama, there is a giant catch. So first, let's listen in and hear some of the good stuff he's saying. Then I'll tell you the catch. Clip number one.
The chairman of their committee has said, we would do the exact same things as we did before Obama took office. Well, we know where that led. And a perfect example is the debate we're having on taxes right now. I have said that middle-class families need tax relief right now. And I'm prepared to work on a bill and sign a bill this month that would ensure that middle-class families get tax relief. 97% of Americans make less than $250,000 a year, $250,000 a year or less. And I'm saying we can give those families 97% permanent tax relief. And by the way, for those who make more than $250,000, they'd still get tax relief on the first $250,000. They just wouldn't get it for income above that. Now, that seems like a common sense thing to do. And what I've got is the Republicans holding middle-class tax relief hostage because they're insisting we've got to give tax relief to millionaires and billionaires to the tune of about $100,000 per millionaire, which would cost, over the course of 10 years, $700 billion. And that economists say is probably the worst way to stimulate the economy. That doesn't make sense, and that's an example of what this election is all about. If you want the same kinds of skewed policies that led us to this crisis, then the Republicans are ready to offer that.
All right, so that sounds pretty good. I mean, he's using the words that he used earlier that we gave him credit for, holding middle-class Americans hostage. He's talking about how the average millionaire is going to get a $100,000 tax break because of the Republican proposals. That's a great point, one I hadn't heard before, one he should emphasize. He's talking about how it's going to cost the deficit $700 billion. All great points. So now that's Obama's talk. What is Obama's walk? Well, we find out today that he's in fact going to propose it looks like, in two different bills. So he's going to say, all right, we all agree on the middle class tax cut, right? So I'm going to propose that and let everybody vote yes. And then I'm going to propose the tax cut for the top 2%, okay? Now, Obama would be against that, but if the Republicans want to vote for it, some conservative Democrats want to vote for it, go ahead and have at it, but it looks like that'll lose, right? Now, you might think that that's very reasonable, and, you know, there's a good case for that, okay? At least that way we get the middle-class tax cut, and likely we won't get the tax cut for the rich, and we get what we want, right? Now, why am I pausing about that? Why is there any issue at all? The issue is, if you present it that way, well, you give the Republicans a political free pass. Okay, why? Think about this. This is important and interesting. Because if you say, hey, look, I'm going to put just one bill, and the bill says middle-class tax cuts and no tax cuts for the top 2%. If the Republicans vote no on that, then you can say, hey, you see that? Republicans voted no on the middle-class tax cut. You make an ad and you say, Republicans holding the middle class hostage. They filibustered your tax cut. We've been talking about it for days now. That's the way to do it. Politics 101, right? Easy. And you know what? It'll pass anyway because there'll be too much political pressure, and you get to score political points. Okay? Now that's if you played hardball. Now if you separate it in two bills, well then the Republicans get to vote yes on the middle class tax cut, and they get to brag about it. So why are you giving him the queen? Why? And there is an answer, okay? The answer is conservative Democrats. Obama is afraid, and this happens on issue after issue, of putting the conservative Democrats on the spot because they're also saying, hey, I want tax cuts for the rich, and I don't agree with Obama, etc. So he's trying to play patty cakes with them, and he doesn't want to hurt their chances, so he's going to let them play their Republican games. Now, but that's the problem with Obama. Fundamental weakness, okay? If you're a conservative Democrat and you're running against me, I'm the president of the United States, and you're coming and bashing me and saying, I need to give tax cuts for the rich, well, you know what? That's going to prove to be a bad idea for you because I'm not going to play your games. What I'm going to say is you better fall in line, or if you don't, that's fine, but you're on your own. And I'm attacking the Republicans, and if you want to give them cover, well, you're going to take those same bullets coming your way. I'm not going to lay off the Republicans so that I can make a couple of conservative Democrats in the country happy. You see what the problem with that is? That means you lay down your arms. You say, oh, I don't want to attack the conservative Democrats because they have the same philosophy as the Republicans, so I won't attack the Republicans at all. So I won't set up a bill that I know will be to my political advantage, and that will get the job done. I won't do it. Instead, I'll let them off the hook. Reminds me of Dennis Green. You let him off the hook! You knew who they were. You knew who they were, and you let them off the hook. Classic Obama. Classic Obama. Even when the talk is good, the walk ain't there. So now we got one more clip, and he says that people are playing games with his nominees, and he's right about that too. Let's watch.
It's now been more than 2 months since the Financial Regulation Bill has passed. A centerpiece of that was what you talked about as Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and yet you haven't named a head. Is Elizabeth Warren still a leading candidate? And if not, are you worried about some sort of Senate hurdle for her confirmation? Thank you.
I'm concerned about all Senate confirmations these days. I mean, if I nominate somebody for dog catcher...
But with respect to Elizabeth Warren, are you...
Hans, I wasn't trying to be funny. I am concerned about all Senate nominations these days. I've got people who've been waiting for 6 months to get confirmed who nobody has an official objection to and who were voted out of committee unanimously, and I can't get a vote on them. We've got judges who are pending. We've got people who are waiting to help us on critical issues like Homeland Security. And it's very hard when you've got a determined minority in the Senate that insists on a 60-vote filibuster on every single person that we're trying to confirm. Even if after we break the filibuster, it turns out that they get 90 votes. They're just playing games. And as I think Senator Voinovich said very well, it's time to stop playing games.
Oh, even when he makes a strong point, it bores me to tears. Maybe it's my mood. Maybe I'm being unfair. But look, the dog catcher line was good. They're playing games is good. People are talking about the dog catcher line. That's fine, right? But why don't you give some of the stats we gave yesterday? Look, every other president, their confirmations at this point have been between 80 and 90%, over 90% for some of the presidents. My confirmations are down at 42%. They just won't confirm them. So I'd like to challenge the press here to go ask the Republicans, hey, why are you being obstructionist? Why won't you confirm all these people? Why are you endangering the country and our system and our judicial system and our justice system by blocking judicial nominees you don't even have any problems with because they passed through committee unanimously, as Obama just said? Why don't you start a national conversation about that? My God, man, you're president. I don't know if I'm being cranky today, but just he can't. All right, now, look, but I claim to be the most reasonable man in America. So now let's turn around and give him credit because he does deserve credit on this. It looks like there's a very, very positive quote on Elizabeth Warren. When asked specifically about her, he said this. The idea for this agency was Elizabeth Warren's, referring to, of course, the Consumer Protection Agency. She's a dear friend of mine. She's somebody I've known since I was in law school, and I've been in conversations with her. She's a tremendous advocate for this idea. I'll have an announcement soon about how we're going to move forward. I've had conversations with Elizabeth over these last couple of months, but I'm not going to make an official announcement until it's ready. Okay, that's really positive, okay? Because you know how I tell you got to read between the lines, and a lot of times, unfortunately, that winds up leading you to a conclusion that you're not that happy with. In this case, reading between the lines is a good thing, because he's saying, I'm not ready to make an official announcement. That means he's basically picked her. To walk this statement back, that'd be really hard, really hard. So it looks like it's going to be Elizabeth Warren. So, I mean, hey, at least we don't have to take the Hope poster down. Remember, if Elizabeth Warren wasn't going to get nominated, we were going to take the Hope poster down. So there's a little bit of hope. And let me give him a little bit more credit. Look, it looks like Rahm Emanuel is going to go after the elections. And now I don't know if that has to do with Obama or not. Peter Orszag, who is apparently very conservative, who was his budget director, is gone. He's talking about how the Republicans are holding the middle class hostage. At least he's not going to buckle on the substance, the policy of the tax cuts for the rich. He seems to be holding the line on there. If he brings Elizabeth Warren in, hey, you know what? We're making progress. We're making progress. That's not bad. Because what I care most about is it a harbinger of things to come when they get outside of the politicking? Because here, as I told you, and I'll brag about it, because if you listen to this show, you know what's going to happen the next day in politics, okay? I told you as the election came around, Obama and the Democrats all of a sudden would be a lot more progressive, right? And they say, oh, I'm for you, I'm for the middle class, oh yeah, damn the rich, the bankers, I've always hated them, tax cuts for the rich, hell no, because that's how you win elections, right? They get it, they understand that. That's not the issue. The issue is what happens the day after the election. And that's why some of this stuff, I know it's before an election, but some of it is encouraging. I'm here to tell you both sides. So Let's see what happens with Warren. That'll happen before the election, so that'll give you a good sign, okay? Or a good sense of it. Young Turks.
It's one of those deja vu things, or a dream is trying to tell me something, but will I ever stop thinking about it? I don't know.
All right, back on the Young Turks. You know, look, we got some good news, we got some bad news, just like every other day, and on it goes. So we've got a court that has decided in the Ninth Circuit, U.S. Circuit of Appeals, in a 65 decision, that the president can exercise state secrets privileges to allow extraordinary renditions. Now, this is disastrous in a couple of different ways. First of all, the court is saying, yeah, you know what? If the government says that they got state secrets, then we're not even going to hear the case. Now, this is the 5 people that have brought the case saying, hey, we got snatched up by the American government and tortured, right? Now, they don't even get to present their case because the court throws it out because the government promises that they've got state secrets. Now, this is an excellent way for the government to cover up its crimes, right? Now, I, on the other hand, think that I'm sure there must be some instances where state secrets are appropriate. You really do have state secrets. You can't show them in open court. And they did show the confidential material to the judges in private. So that's important and that's good. And the judges in this case decided, you know what, those actually are state secrets. So actually that part of the decision, I don't know. There's nothing we can do. You go through the judiciary and that court says that it's legitimate and that's the ruling. So I actually don't have a huge problem with that part of it. But I do have a problem with the second part where they say you can't even present your case even if you don't mention the stuff that are state secrets. So what the defendants, or in this case the plaintiffs actually, are saying is, hey, listen, I can present my case without getting into any state secrets, without getting into any information that's confidential or top secret. I can just do it with things that are already in the public record, and the court won't let them. Well, that doesn't make any kind of sense, okay? Now, point number 3 is Obama, of course, when he was running for office, was against state secrets, using state secrets to make sure that these trials did not go further, of course. Obama, when he was running for president, was against extraordinary rendition. And so now he's using state secrets to do extraordinary renditions and to defend that process. All right, now understand the danger of that, okay? Because if a court says, hey, you know what, the government can do this and it's a secret and sad day for you. If you're a conservative or you're a liberal, it doesn't really matter. Then the government can snatch you up and bring you to Syria or Saudi Arabia or wherever else, have you tortured, and then go, oh, sad day for you, state secrets. I got my rights. So I can do an extraordinary rendition, and that's where we take you and we give you to a foreign country and they do whatever the hell they want with you. But they assure us that they won't torture you. Wink. Now, why the hell did you send them? Sometimes they send them to Syria. We're not even on good terms with Syria. Well, you know why you send somebody to Syria? To get them tortured. That's why you send them there. Okay? It's sick. So now you wonder why I get frustrated with Obama sometimes. The guy promised he'd stop this. So how is he better on civil liberties than George Bush? I've asked this question before. I'll keep asking it until he gets better. But right now he isn't. He says, oh, no, I don't do torture. Okay, that's good. That's real. Okay? I don't want to minimize the things that he's done. At the same time, in this case, he's saying, oh, no, but I will let the other countries do torture and then protect their actions and our actions by calling it state secrets. Oh, did I promise you otherwise? Well, good luck. Good luck waiting for that change. We're also still doing warrantless wiretapping, and the list goes on and on. Sometimes I get discouraged. Okay, now Christina Romer left. She was the Council of Economics, head of the Council of Economic Advisors. Austin Goolsbee is coming in. Where does that stand? Well, there's some conflicting evidence on Goolsbee because he's a human being. He doesn't just fit the liberal or conservative ideology. He's against tax cuts for the rich. Hey, all right. In fact, he wrote papers trying to show how cutting taxes for the rich does not help improve the economy. That's, in my mind, very positive. I think that's very true. And so it's good that he's picked someone like that. The flip side, for some progressives, is that he's very pro-free trade. He's pro-NAFTA, and he got in trouble during the campaign because he went to Canada and said, yeah, Obama's talking some nonsense about NAFTA. Ignore that. That's ridiculous. Of course we're not going to touch NAFTA. So you get a sense of what Obama was thinking during the election, too. Like, yeah, these promises. Come on, Austin, let's go. Good laugh over there. NAFTA, come on. Of course we're going to keep NAFTA. Now, I happen to think that NAFTA is not nearly as bad as some progressives think. I'm a free trade guy. The definitions are all nonsense, right? So it depends on what you mean by free trade. And Goolsbee has significant issues with how China conducts their trade as well, and he thinks it's unfair competition. So it's not like he's a conservative on that issue. But there are other things that Goolsbee does that are, again, in the middle. In the internet, he's very, very positive. He's always thought that the internet was a place that democratizes the markets, and so that's very positive. Unfortunately, he was massively wrong about subprime lending. So at the time that in 2007, as the markets were about to blow up, he's like, subprime lending, just calm down. Not that big a deal. I mean, later in the show, we're going to talk to Arianna Huffington. She wrote a blog today that was very good, where Robert Gibbs said, well, in 2009, who could have seen a lack of recovery coming? I mean, we tried everything we could, and nobody could have foreseen this. So I do get a little frustrated that Obama hires all the people who screwed it up, who didn't see it coming or didn't want to see it coming, and then turns around and says, nobody could have seen it coming. No, people saw it coming, just not the guys you hired, right? So Goolsbee's a mixed bag. What I care, of course, much more about, and the reason we go into that kind of research to find out what he's about, is what he's going to do in the future, what he's going to do in the White House. That, of course, we'll see. Now, speaking of tax cuts for the rich, this is a very interesting set of facts that we got from Talking Points memo. During the Bush years, from 2000 to 2008, tax cuts for the wealthy, meaning the top 2%, cost the budget approximately $1.3 trillion. Now, by the way, that's a stunning number. You know, Obama wants to do $50 billion more in stimulus spending, and he doesn't like to call it that because the Republicans yell at him. Recovery spending, okay? So some of that goes into transportation, creating jobs, etc. But the Republicans are dead set against, we don't have any money left, $50 billion, are you kidding me? They gave away $1.3 trillion to the richest people in the country, okay? So now they're worried about $50 billion. No. They're not worried about the money. They're worried about who it goes to. As long as it goes to the rich, they're fine. So, but the idea behind the Republican tax cuts for the rich is, don't worry, they spend it here and create jobs. It's not that we want to help the rich. It's just that there are, as they're calling them now, their code word for the rich is job creators. Well, is that how it turned out? Let's look at the numbers. According to the U.S. Census, capital investments in foreign countries from the United States has gone up in that same time period between 2000 and 2008 from 1.3 trillion to 3.2 trillion. You understand what happened? 1.9 trillion went outside the country. Okay, so now 1.3 trillion goes to the rich, 1.9 trillion goes outside the country. Now, I'm not blaming them, okay? I'm a little to the right of Michael Moore, right? I get why they're doing it, and I understand the value of free trade. And a guy says, look, I got a better investment in China, or I got a better investment in Mexico, and I'm going to set up the plant there. Okay, maybe that's a logical business decision, right? And that's what the markets dictate, et cetera. But you can't say, hey, you know what? Giving the tax cuts to the rich works because they create jobs in the U.S. Because they don't. Now, there are a number of, this is just one fact that shows it to you. There are other facts, and we've shown them on the show before. One of the facts is we gave those massive tax cuts, the $1.3 trillion went out the door, and we lost 8 million jobs. We had a massive crash, we lost the 8 million jobs, and they haven't come back. So it's a myth, it's a lie. It's an excuse to give more tax cuts to the rich. And, if they want to make more money from it, God bless them, okay? But the idea that it's going to create jobs for you is a lie meant to deceive you so that you will willingly go along and give them more money. And, some people will say, hey, but Cenk, that's not fair because it's actually their money and it's a matter of how much you tax them. Okay, but we know the economy did really well under Clinton with the higher tax rate. And it's not that much higher. For people making over $200,000, it's 3% higher above $200,000. That's not that much. And what it does is it balances the budget as it did in the Clinton years, and it gives us a stronger, healthier economy. Under Clinton, we created 22 million jobs. But just for that extra 3%, and of course that winds up being a lot of money for the rich. That's an extra 1.3 trillion they got and put in their pocket and invested in China, right? They're willing to sacrifice you and the economy and everything else. So don't believe the hype. It's not about creating jobs for you. Next time you hear that, think about these numbers. All right, now we go to those same Republicans who said, no, $50 billion, we can't do it, okay, just too expensive. And we can't invest it in infrastructure, that would be horrible. Senator Mitch McConnell is a senator from Kentucky, of course. He opposes the funding, even though 1/3 of his state's bridges are structurally deficient or functionally obsolete. There's a chance that 1/3 of those bridges are going to collapse. Now, they're not all going to collapse at the same time, and maybe none of them collapse in the next 2 years, maybe not in the next 5 years. But at some point, as happened in Minnesota a couple of years back, a bridge is going to fall in Kentucky. And you know what they're going to say? No one could have seen it coming. I mean, sometimes stuff happens. As Rick Perry said about the oil spill, sometimes God does mysterious things. Golly gee willikers, who could have known that bridge was going to collapse? How about the people who told you it was going to? That said it's deteriorating and obsolete and is in serious structural damage. How about we take some money and put it towards fixing that bridge? Oh, hell no, hell no. I got to give more money to the rich. 178 dams in Kentucky have been called high hazard dams. You know what that means? That's a dam where failure would, quote, cause a loss of life and significant property damage. You got 178 dams in Kentucky waiting to blow. Not all of them are going to blow, but one or two might, and when they do, they'll say, who could have seen it coming? In Pennsylvania, we got Pat Toomey running for Republican. He's a Republican running for the Senate. He also, of course, opposes the funding. 50% of Pennsylvania's bridges are deficient. Who could have seen it coming? 44% of its roads are in poor condition, and $7 billion in wastewater infrastructure needs to be built. But if the sewage blows up and is all over Pennsylvania, who could have seen it coming? The rich needed an extra 3%. Washington, Republican Senate nominee Dino Rossi opposes the funding, even though 1/3 of his state's roads are in poor condition and 29% of its bridges are deficient or obsolete. I'm done. There's Ohio, there's Florida, there's Colorado, there's Virginia, and I can go on and on and on. Do we need infrastructure spending? Obviously we do. Would it create jobs? Absolutely. Would those jobs then funnel money back into the economy and have a multiplier effect? Absolutely. Republicans blocking it, totally against it. The only thing they're in favor of is tax cuts for the rich. I wrote a diary about Rahm Emanuel, how he's 100% wrong. I've got that up on our website, Huffington Post, Daily Kos, etc., right? You heard it on the show yesterday, so I don't want to repeat it. But so Daily Kos, of course, they're the guys that are more pro-Democrat. They're not more pro-liberal, or they're not more progressive. They're just like Democrat, D-E-M-O-C-R-A-T, woo, woo, woo. Some of them, not all of them, not all of them. In fact, the majority of them probably are on our side, okay? But based on the comments that I read, etc. But some are, and they get so mad anytime I ever criticize a Democrat. They're like, how dare you? We're supposed to be up their ass. You're outside of the anus. What are you doing? Crawl back in. So I write that thing on Rahm Emanuel. They're like, how dare you so division? And before an election, it's all your fault. So let me be clear, as the president would say. I've said it a million times. I'm going to say it 1,000,001 times. These Republicans that are blocking these projects, you would have to be mental to vote for them. Mental. And should you stay at home as a protest or anything? Of course not. You should go out and vote. Every election, it's a democracy. That's how it works. You never get the best guys you want. It doesn't... Like once in a while, you got a guy like Feingold who's running in Wisconsin. You say, all right, hey, I'm proud to vote for that guy, right? But 99 other times, you hold your nose and you vote for the lesser of two evils. That's why I'm telling you to run in primaries against Democrats, because that's where you can make real change happen. When it comes to a Democrat versus a Republican, it's a no-brainer. You run to the polls to vote for the Democrat. In this case, in national elections. I'm not saying in local elections. That depends on your local candidates, etc. Okay? Am I clear enough? Am I clear enough? No, apparently not. Okay. Young Turks.
I am from the village of Minerva. Drastic times require what? Drastic measures, yes! Who said that? Thank you! Drastic times require drastic measures!
By the way, in the post-game today, we will be doing jank hate, okay? People who have written hateful things about me, which I find to be a lot of fun, but I will be asking a lot of this.
Who said that?
There is apparently someone calling me that jank person. Mm-hmm. Okay. And by the way, almost all the hate comes from liberals. Well, that's a nice twist in the post-game, okay? We'll find out what that jank person is all about in the post-game. I do know one thing. He is definitely...
I am from the village of Minerva.
Okay, I don't know why I love that part so much. All right, let's move forward.
All right, there's a reality show in Iraq, and what the reality show does is it tries to mimic Punk'd on MTV, right?
Okay.
And Punk'd
That makes sense.
Punk'd is where Ashton Kutcher tricks celebrities and pulls pranks on them.
Yeah, and some funny pranks, they get surprised, etc. That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Right. Except this one is a little disastrous. Okay, so this is what happens. So the celebrities, the Iraqi celebrities, are put in a car and they think that they're going to go do a television interview. All right. So while they're on their way, they come to a checkpoint with soldiers and with police, and they are told to go out of the car so they can be searched. Okay. As they're being searched, the prankster puts some sort of fake bomb in the car, right? And then says, "Look, there's a bomb in the car. There's a bomb in the car," and makes the celebrity think that he or she is trying to like be a terrorist or blow things up.
Total and utter disaster. I can't imagine a worse idea. In the middle of Iraq, you're going to pretend there's a bomb in a car. Okay, I am shocked no one has died in the middle of this show. Okay, now it turns out the cops are in on it, right? And they're like, "What are you doing? Are you Al Qaeda?" And the celebrity's having a heart attack. He's like, "What? No, I'm not Al Qaeda. Where the hell did that bomb come from? What is?" And then the host is in on it, and the host is like, "Oh my God, what is that? What are you? You're going to get us in trouble. What's the matter with you?" And he's like, "I didn't put the bomb in." Blah, blah, blah. And then right before he's about to snap and have the worst cardiac arrest of his life, they're like, "Just kidding."
Oh my God.
You want to talk about schwang, wang, wang, Debbie Schlusel.
So JR found us a video of it.
Oh my God, this is going to be good.
So let's go to the video.
You might think there's enough reality in Iraq without reality TV as well, but not for one network. Imagine you're a celebrity going to an interview. You're stopped at a checkpoint. An Iraqi army officer looks under the car and shouts, "There's a bomb, get away." Soldiers accuse the car's occupants of being terrorists
There goes the
and
shoes.
threaten dire retribution despite frantic denials and pleas. But here's the very black
Wait a minute,
joke.
it is funny.
The bomb's a fake, and the soldiers are in on it. It's punked, Baghdad style. And it's being recorded for a show called Put Him in Buka, a now closed U.S. detention camp. In this episode, troops grab comedian Jassim Sharaf and accuse him of being a member of Al Qaeda. "Sit in the car, you did it, let it explode on you," the soldiers yell. He does see the funny side. "I should be upset," he tells us as we watch, "but seeing myself now, I am laughing. I could have been traumatized, I could have died, but it's all worth the sacrifice to make Iraqis laugh." Others say it's in poor taste in a country awash with bombings. Ali Al-Khalidi is the presenter. He pretends his car has broken down and gets a ride with the unwitting actors. He says humor can be an education. The show is an educational one. We send a message through it to the people so that they are aware, Al-Khalidi says, so that they are alert and check their cars before getting in.
Oh, please.
Most Iraqis, including Sharaf, say that's already part of their routine. If there is a silver lining for the victims, it's this. Their health is allegedly checked before they're put under such stress. And after we have them on the show, says Al-Khalidi, I tell them, congratulations. You don't need to go see any doctor because you are in good shape.
Disaster. That's the idea of an Iraqi medical checkup. And by the way, who checked that guy's health before? Did you see him?
I know.
Okay, come on. But I will give him this. It was kind of funny when he's like, "Washington," and he starts running around like that. And he's a good sport about it.
He is.
They got to get him to sign off before they air it, and he signs off on it.
Right.
So bless his heart on that. But there's nothing educational about it. Please spare me. Spare me. Oh, no, yeah. You should check for bombs. Okay. Look, this show is very drastic. On the other hand, wrong freaking thing. On the other hand, gosh, it drives me crazy. On the other hand,
Drastic times require what? Drastic measures, yes! Who said that? Thank you! Drastic times require drastic measures!
I think maybe Phil Davison was at Camp Buka. Was a punked Baghdadi style.
Can you imagine him getting punked?
Oh my God. Something would blow, that's for sure.
By the way, it's extra scary when you see the video and you see the massive weapons that the soldiers are carrying.
Right, the massive weapon.
They're massive.
Yeah, no, the whole skin thing is scary. It's crazy. It's the craziest show I've ever seen. Yeah, no, not in favor. And if no one's gotten a heart attack yet, you just wait. Okay, it's coming. It's coming, kind of like...
Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell Randy Gonzalez, I'm coming.
All right. I wonder if I could get it to the point where I no longer enjoy it. I don't think it's possible. I've now listened to it 10 times. Okay, yes, go ahead.
All right, so what do you think of when you think of Girl Scouts?
I think that they are dirty. I think they're trouble, and probably lesbians.
Well, then there's a Republican candidate for Congress who agrees with you.
Oh, really?
Yes. His name is Hans Zeiger.
Kind of sounds like Cenk Weiger.
It does.
Okay, maybe it's my doppelganger. It's my German doppelganger. Schluppen das ist Vitamin.
And he claims that the Girl Scouts are pro-abortion lesbians.
Of course they are, obviously. No, because I've met a couple of Girl Scouts before, and they couldn't stop raving about abortion.
Right, exactly.
They were like, oh man, boy, am I pro-abortion. Okay, okay.
I'm going to read you
What's
his
his
quote.
logic?
Okay, this is logic. The Girl Scouts allow homosexuals... he said homosexuals.
Nah, that's trouble.
Negative connotation. All right. The Girl Scouts allow homosexuals and atheists to join their ranks, and they have become a pro-abortion feminist training corps. In the Girl Scouts of America, can't get back to teaching real character. Perhaps will be time to look for cookies elsewhere.
Yeah, that's pretty drastic. On the other hand,
Drastic times require what? Drastic measures, yes! Who said that? Thank you! Drastic times require drastic measures!
so I'm with Zeiger over here. Okay, I mean, what do you want me to say about this story? Okay, that's what I'm telling you, man. That's the theme of today. There's some crazy folks in the country. I mean, you see a Girl Scout and you think, delicious cookies, right? That's what I think. I think, like, oh, it's nice. Oh, look at the girls in the neighborhood. They're doing sleepovers, and the peanut butter ones are delicious, okay? And I look for the chocolate mint ones, not bad. This guy looks at Girl Scouts and goes, oh, pro-abortion lesbians. I mean, how does that even enter your mind? There's some troubled folks out there. There really are.
And most of them are running as Republican candidates for Congress.
Who said that?
I hear a lot of them are from the village of Minerva. Okay.
All right, since we're cutting edge, let's do a little tech news.
Okay. Ooh, tech news, cutting edge.
All right, so Google has this new feature. I don't think it's really that new, but it's making news now for some reason. It's called the instant search. So as you're typing something in the bar, what it does is it finds words that it thinks that you're looking for.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's not that new, but every time I use it, I'm amazed by it. I'm like, how did they know I wanted that?
Right, exactly.
You know?
So today, for instance, I was typing in, is homosexual politically, and then it typed incorrect.
Oh, well, that's kind of obvious, but nonetheless.
Still.
Okay.
Okay, so it turns out, though, that they're censoring that automatic result. What they're doing is if they think that a word is too violent or too racy, they won't include it in the automatic search.
No, it's hilarious.
Okay, so let me give you an example of a word that they will not automatically type in for you.
Cock.
No.
Balls.
Well, yes, balls maybe, but cock I doubt it.
Okay.
They will not type in penis.
Okay, good. So if you write in P-E-N-I, they're like, nope, not going to finish it. I know where you're going with this, but I'm not going to finish it because that's dirty.
Right. Vagina.
Okay, oh, how about vajayjay?
These are anatomically correct words.
Uh-huh.
Look, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with penis and vagina?
We live in a mental world where, like, we have body parts. It's like, imagine if people went ballistic over elbows. They're like, oh my God, it's an elbow. Shh, don't type it. Oh, that's crazy. Okay, yes, this one does other fun things. In fact, it's probably our funnest organ, right? But, oh, no, sure. Okay. All right, anyway, so Google doesn't let you finish penis.
Right. They will let you finish breast and testicle.
Oh, are they not merciful?
I was a little surprised about testicle. I think they forgot about it, but I'm sure that they'll censor that.
They snuck those testicles by.
They did.
Okay. No, but testicles and breasts are very technical. I bet if you did testicle, and I'm just guessing here, that one of the options would be cancer, right? Testicular cancer or whatever, right, as you're typing it out. So that's something that people search medically. I think that's, there's not a lot of guys in the country who are like, let me search for some dirty testicles. Who's, like, when you're searching for porn, who searches for testicle?
I'm sure that there are people out there.
I guess, but I mean, like, that's got to be really low on the list. You see what I'm saying? All right. By the way, whenever the kids are out of the room, among my friends, I go to the thing I just did with old school. I love that. When Will Ferrell's sitting there going, cock, balls. And that never gets old for me. Kind of like this will never get old for me. Sick that it's the wrong one again. Forget it. I'm having issues today, man. I'm having issues. All right, go ahead. What's next?
All right. So there's this virus going around on the internet. Okay. And it turns out that some of the victims of this virus are NASA, AIG, Disney, Procter & Gamble. So massive companies are being affected by this online virus. And it's being called the sex movie worm.
Okay.
And what it is you get an email, and it offers you free porn movies if you click on the link. And you click on the link, which appears to be a PDF file, but of course it's not. You open it, you get a massive virus. Everyone in your contacts gets sent the exact same email that you got, and it's just spreading all over the world.
That's the tricky, hairy, pizzicky part of this virus, is that it sends out emails to all your contacts, right? It's funny, because as soon as I read that story, I was like, oh, I just got an email from somebody saying, oh, there might be an email coming with my address. I would ignore that.
You did?
I did. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, I see you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Now, having said that, come on, dude, you're still falling for this?
Yes.
This is the oldest trick in the virus book. I mean, I knew this shit back in 1997, okay? You don't open a porn movie that somebody sent you. It's filled, it's a Pandora's box of viruses.
Right.
There's a lot of boxes with viruses in there, okay? So, no, you go to trusted porn sites. Word to the wise. I'm trying to look out for you, okay? I wouldn't, like, opening any attachment somebody you don't know sends you is questionable to begin with.
Right.
Opening a sex one, you're crazy.
Right, and make sure you don't send $20,000 to Nigeria.
I know. We got to fill you in on this stuff, right? But the thing is, what's great about this is they did it again. They went to the oldest trick in the book because guys can't help themselves. They're like, oh, sex movie. Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Oh, they open it up at like Procter & Gamble headquarters. And then, what happened, right? And it's going to the CEO. It's going to everybody. It's going to human resources. Hey, Tom Jablowski just sent you a sex movie. He's like, no. Well. Okay, if they're going to keep falling for it, I guess it's going to keep happening.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we have Kim Kardashian getting Botox.
I thought you were going to say getting boned.
Maybe that too. I mean, with Kim Kardashian, it's never a surprise.
Oh, damn. Okay, come on. Wait.
Who said that?